We seek your freedom, yes, it's our song. Hold on, Jasmine, hang on strong. We're praying for you that it won't be long. We seek your freedom, it's our song. We seek your freedom, it's our song. Hold on, Jasmine, we're praying for you that it won't be long. We seek your freedom, it's our song. We seek your freedom, it's our song. You can't kill the revolution.
I want to thank everyone that signed, everyone that passed that petition on. It is clear that they messed up. It is clear that they know they messed up. When we last Wednesday after the conviction, you know they was happy. You know they thought that they were going to have our sister in prison. You know that they thought that the movement was going to be deflated, and we were going to be upset. And Jasmine set the tone by doing the Asada chant as they led her behind the wall. And it's been lit ever since. They messed up. They messed up and turned us even further up than we were before.
Yeah, my name is James Simmons. I'm one of the attorneys for Jasmine Richards here in Pasadena after the verdict. She was sentenced to essentially 180 days county jail,
I read the books.
3 years probation, and that's pretty much an anger management classes. So she's in better shape than what the prosecution wanted, which was 6 months of county jail. She was facing essentially as an attempt 2 years in prison, state prison, but this was really not the intent of the law. You know, as a lot of people know, this was the anti-lynching law, and lynching. It was enacted. You know, we have this history of black people being lynched in Los Angeles, Chinese and Mexican people being lynched, but it took the lynching of a white man, or two white men who had, my understanding, two white men who had, were accused of rape were lynched. I think they were taken from police custody and lynched, which is when they enacted this law. Not when all the Chinese people were lynched, not when the black and the brown people were lynched, but when this white man was lynched. But it was such an affront to some people in Sacramento that they removed that term lynch from the law. But essentially, this was a case of, at worst, misdemeanor interfering with the police. If that.
So it's my understanding from talking to Ms. Jampty, Jasmine Richards' attorney, that the judge prohibited the use of the word lynching throughout the trial. I did hear from somebody that attended the closing that the prosecutor used the word lynching a couple of times, perhaps inadvertently. But I think that the judge's decision to eliminate the word lynching throughout the course of the trial was based on her understanding that the legislature had changed the statute to take the word out. But it wasn't based on even the most common understanding of how law exists, how law grows out of history. So if the defense had been allowed, for example, to use the word lynching, there's nobody on the jury that wouldn't have understood that this was not a lynching.
So my name is Felony Abdullah. I'm an organizer with Black Lives Matter, and we were here struggling for a fair sentence. I'm coming a fair sentence for Jasmine Abdullah, aka Jasmine Richards, who was convicted of felony attempted lynching. We had over 1,000 people out here today. struggling for a fair sentence. She was sentenced to 90 days in county jail. We were pushing for no jail time, but the possibility was up to 4 years in state prison. So we know that we won a modest victory, but it's not over. This is not the victory. So we're going to appeal the decision. We are still pushing to free Jasmine Abdullah and all political prisoners, and we're taking this as a charge for us to redouble our efforts to free black people, to engage in the struggle for our liberation.